Hello. Looks like there's a bump on my forehead. Let's do a long overdue weekly recap. I haven't had time to do it and sit down and properly focus and do it. So I thought let's just do it now, even though it is Wednesday, I believe. But let's go over last week. I didn't take any trades, unfortunately. I think I did take a demo trade for NASDAQ. I thought I would just show you while we're here my demo trading on NASDAQ statistics. I've got it in a spreadsheet because I love me a good spreadsheet. I'm not gonna lie to you, but this spreadsheet is really good. I've got win 100% because obviously I won the trade, but then 0% means that I didn't win the trade, but it kind of just helps me make my win rate. Yeah, I put the win rate as 100% because I won the trade, but then 0% if I lost the trade to give me like a win rate. I didn't know if that was going to work, but then when I actually did the calculations, it did work. So fingers crossed that is actually right. But I've taken so far this month 3 demo trades on NASDAQ. Obviously, I've been analyzing it. I've been looking at things. I've been kind of testing things and, just writing, like you'll see in my last trade recap for Tuesday night. No, for Monday night, I had written a little paragraph of what I thought about what I thought was going to happen with NASDAQ, and it ended up happening, but I didn't include that in here because obviously I didn't take the trade. I didn't have the conviction to take the trade. So these are my statistics so far. Honestly, pretty happy with them considering that it's my first month trading it. And I'm really happy. This one loss that I had was because I had taken it pre-market open. So the rest of the trades that I've taken have all been in market open, which is, just so good. That's so easily avoidable in the future, and it's good that I was on demo to learn that. But anyway, that isn't the whole point of this video. I'm trying to show you guys the weekly stats that I have, but I think it would be one trade. One of the NASDAQ trades, I think, was last week. Maybe it was 2. What is the week? From the 9th to the 15th. So it would have been these 2 trades. So it would have been a 50% win rate, and it would have been a profit of 0.8 because we've obviously got one. Yeah, it would have been something like that, but it's not connected to my trade seller because I only have my live account connected to here. But we can go over and have a look at the setups that I did take. We'll go from Monday. Also, just if anyone hasn't seen me do these weekly recaps, because obviously they don't come out as frequently as my other videos, I basically just do these to basically go over how I was feeling every single day, how I performed based off of my feelings, what my analysis was like, what my struggles were like, so I can evolve and do better. So that's really the purpose of these. So usually at the end of the week, I like to try and do a weekly recap and a weekly analysis so we can have an outlook on the week on the daily time frame, and then just go over the mistakes that I had to make sure I don't make the same mistakes in the following week. But anyway, I'm gonna start now. So we'll look at, go straight to the bottom, I think. Mistakes noticed. I didn't do my daily routine. So didn't do my daily routine, meaning my affirmations and my back testing. And then my key takeaways was don't rush into setups. What I'll do better tomorrow is identify levels and observe how price moves and take notes based off of that. Okay, interesting. I guess I kind of did that this week. Was that this week or last week? I think I kind of did that Monday. But anyway. Okay, so we had one setup on NASDAQ going bearish that I was waiting for. I think that happened later in the week. What was this setup? I think this is a setup that I hesitated on taking. I definitely could have taken that looking back in hindsight because I could see that it was building up that bullish momentum. It was forming higher lows and then it was just hitting a barrier. So once I did see that 1 hour candle push, I could have definitely entered around about here, and you could see that was my idea. Let's go into the morning analysis for gold. Buys the ICC bullish continuation. Okay, that's what I was waiting for. So I was kind of waiting for price to give me a pullback. Really, I should have entered off of this breakout. So this would have been a zone-to-zone entrance. And I've been testing and playing around with zone-to-zone. And this would have been the perfect opportunity to have taken one. Because you can see there are very sharp reactions as soon as price gets to this area, whatever that number is. But unfortunately, my mid-speaking face is blocking whatever number it was at. But you can see price has had sharp buy-ups, even though it doesn't look like it's, an actual trend, but you can see that it's had really strong wicks. So I definitely could have taken that as like a momentum point. And you can see I'm trialing zone to zone trading at the moment. Hello? Did that go onto there? Okay, I'm trialing zone to zone trading at the moment. This is just back testing and trialing it and seeing kind of how I'm going. I'm definitely starting to understand it better. So if I had just done this maybe a month ago, but I didn't wrap my head around it a month ago. But if I'd done it a month ago, I probably could have taken that setup. But I didn't. That's okay though. Okay, maybe I should write a note. I'm gonna make a Google Doc to write down some notes. Give me 1 second. Okay, this is what we have. I think this is how I'm gonna set it up. It's just gonna be a weekly recap note, and then I'm gonna have whatever week ending it is, and then I'm just gonna note down the things that I need to work on and any takeaways that I had. So I think trades I'm missing would be the zone to zone. After higher lows. So we'll go bullish after seeing higher lows and price hit a wall of sellers after the 1 hour or 4 hour candle close. Enter with the stop loss at the higher, what's called the lower high? Higher low. The higher low. Okay, there we go. I think that would be really good. It'd be really cool to note down the trades that I'm missing in a more easier to see area, so that way I can go through it, what I'm missing, and actually work on it. Okay, let's go to the next day. That's a really good takeaway just for one day of no trades. And this is what I mean. This is what I mean. Like, you can learn without taking trades. And I feel like doing intraday trading has helped me so much for that reason, because I can literally just take no trades, or I can take one trade a day. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I'm scalping where I'm taking like 15 trades in one sitting and then having to reflect on all 15 of those trades. That is literally just a headache in my mind. But anyway, moving on. This isn't a trading diaries episode. I do not need to yap. Okay. Yeah, I take this on demo. Okay, cool. Anyway, so we observed a bullish ICC. I entered on demo. It hasn't played out yet. Later in the push-up, let go of previous setups as price didn't retrace that far. We're targeting a 1 to 1.6. I was feeling calm and controlled, which is good. It's good that I entered on demo because I wasn't 100% confident. And then key takeaways: staying patient and learning as priority. Continue learning and staying disciplined. Okay, there's not really anything technically that I can take out of this, because I'm kind of just reinforcing, like doing the same thing that I did the previous day. So it looks like I did just see price break a high here, broke a high here, and then went on this correction, had met a wall of sellers, went on this correction, and then once price broke above this point, I could have taken an entry, and then obviously it did, and then we saw a break of structure in New York, and then it pushed up. So to be honest, I think I just need to trust that rather than being like skeptical and taking those entries. Because that really did just seem like a good entry to take. But I can see where my mindset was at, where I was like, price never ended up coming back down here. And if you actually look at what gold's doing at the moment, I'm not entered in on a setup, by the way. I just have that marked out. If we look at what gold's doing at the moment, you can see that my bias was actually correct, even though I had a quadrillion people in the comments being like, price will never retrace down to there. And yeah. Looks like I was right this time, but that's fine. It's really not a competition. It is not a competition. But you can see once price did end up closing below here, it did end up pushing up. So, yeah. But anyway, we did obviously see a push up. I think I could have taken the fact that price did have a strong reaction. Because what is it here? There's quite a strong push. And then once it got above this point, it did have quite a strong push. And what time frame? We're on the 1 hour. So let's see if that's what it does look like on the 1 hour. What am I looking at then? Oh, I think we're looking at this area. So this area here, taking a continuation off of here. I can definitely see why I was skeptical, and to be honest, I'm not actually regretting taking that on demo because obviously it did work out, but what if it didn't? And I'm not saying that because it's like I'm worried, but like there's quite a big space here that price never retraced back to, so it makes sense why I was a little bit skeptical. Maybe I could have taken because there's not really any. To be honest, I'm not mad that I took that on demo. To be completely honest with you, because we were so far up in that move and price had never rebalanced and come back to fill all of that space. I think that that was maybe a smart move. But either way, if I wanted to be more not risk on, but like be more risky and take more entries, like yeah, I could have taken that as a setup. But even look at, because is that the day that I wanted to take it? Because look at that. Yeah, I'm definitely not mad. Because that was like basically almost like a doji on the 4 hours. So that wasn't a very strong move. Yeah, see, look, that was a little, what's it called, the shooting thing. I think I'm looking at the right times. I might not be looking at the right time, so take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, even that move was not very strong, so I'm glad I took it on demo. I think it would have been much better to have taken this as a breakout. Breakout at this high, we can see that there's high lows forming. That would have been a better setup, and I would have gotten a higher R to R, and I would have been able to capitalize off of a higher move. I think that would have been better. Even though we didn't get that retrace down to here, we still got a bit of accumulate. I can't speak. We still had a little bit of accumulation here, so we can see that price isn't just overextending itself. It has slowed down and taken a break. And then once we got that confirmation push out of there, could have definitely taken that. And because that was in New York session as well, I could have felt very confident in taking that because we could have gotten that New York session volume. So we'll see what I did the next day because I think that's the next day setup. But I'm definitely actually happy that I took that on demo. I was gonna like sit here and be like, oh, I'm so stupid. Why didn't I take that? But no, I'm actually happy I did. I didn't take that, to be honest. And I know probably there's people that are like, girl, it was a win. Like you should have just taken it because obviously it worked. But like just because it worked doesn't mean that it's always the right decision. Maybe there's more like clues within that trade on why I could have taken it. Like maybe I'm gonna note down the day because that was on Tuesday. Tuesday, the 11th of November, we'll go took opportunity on demo, hit TP, but upon reviewing it, was still happy I took it on demo. Yeah. Review. I think I'm going to review that later on and I'm going to really dissect it and try and understand like why am I happy that I took that on demo and am I right to be happy, and is there other clues that I could use to like say advance my strategy. Like I'm not sure what else there could have been in there to tell me to like give me more confidence. Maybe there could have been like a chart pattern, maybe there would have been like a candlestick or something that I could have looked at and been like, yeah, okay, I feel comfortable getting in here. Because yeah, I think just looking on the high time frame, still definitely happy that I didn't take it. Things itchy. Okay, let's look at Wednesday. Did I take a trade? Okay, looks like I was waiting for that move on NASDAQ, which I never got. Okay, I can see what I remember taking a what's it called? A sell from below here. And then, we played around with gold here. Okay, we ended up taking that demo trade that I wasn't too happy with, and then I zoomed out and I was like, okay, this is a bearish ICC setup. So I ended up taking a short. Low-key, I was like almost scalping gold on a higher time frame. Does that even count? I don't actually think that counts, but look at that. Like I literally just profited on the up and then I was like, wait, okay, price isn't breaking that high. Looks like it's wanting to go down. It's formed lower low. So let me get in on the sell. Got in on the sell, took a very conservative exit out of that trade, and then price ended up reversing. Don't know how I did that. I do not know how I did that. I'm going to actually note that down. Review Wednesday, 12th of November. Like, looking at these makes me want to have bad habits and just enter in on whatever I think is going to hit because call me a pro. But anyway, I think, yeah, it was definitely, I kind of ate with that. I kind of ate. But it never ended up forming a lower low. And the thing is, I want to take entries that are actually going to give me a proper trend, but I just kind of have to take what I'm given, if that makes sense. But yeah, quite happy with that. Patience, trust in gold, and for NASDAQ, always trade in New York. Was that a New York session trade? This was an Asia session trade. So, okay, I think I'm saying NASDAQ, only trade NASDAQ in New York. And trust more in gold. Okay, I think I had this set up here and that never. Okay, this is the one that I lost. I took a trade pre-New York in London session and it just did not hit. It literally just reversed straight away. But I mean, I got the indication, I got the correction, I got the continuation, but it wasn't in New York. So my key takeaways would be only trade NASDAQ in New York, which I kind of already knew. Once I took that trade and I got that loss, I was like, okay, cool. We're not trading NASDAQ in London anymore because that just makes sense. I thought I would have put a note in there, but I guess I was putting a note in here. Anyway, I kind of made a mental note, I think. But then I was waiting for this trade to hit, never hit. Mistakes noticed, more high risk, so I reduced size if live trading. Okay. Okay, so I think what I'm talking about here is for that demo trade where I did short gold. I think that I would have reduced the size because it was a reversal and we did have a very overextended uptrend. So it definitely showed that buyers were more in control. Let me show you the chart so I can actually have something to follow along. So here we obviously had quite a strong push. I'm pretty sure that's when we broke out of that consolidation, and previous to that we had a strong push. Let me actually show you. This is what I'm talking about here. This strong push right here is what we had, and I shorted right here before price continued up. So I think because we didn't have very significant lower highs here, obviously price is still making lower highs, they just weren't significant. It was definitely more of a high risk trade to take. So I think reducing size would be best because obviously these trades that I'm taking on demo for gold are hitting and I am reading price correctly and I am choosing to get out of the trades correctly, the 1 hour candle closes. And I think that I'm doing all of that right, but I think they're just low probability setups. So I think that's kind of where the kind of barrier is for me entering on my live account is I think I'm just seeing these opportunities, I'm seeing that they're low probability and just choosing to sit out of it, but maybe just lowering my size would be better because eventually I'm looking to scale up in my trading. Haven't spoken about it yet. I'll speak about it eventually, but I'm looking to potentially risk more so I can move back down to that 1% risk when I'm taking low probable setups, which is kind of what I'm trading on gold at the moment. But yeah, that's definitely something that I'll have to work on. And I think I'll have to, as stupid as it may sound to some people, backtesting has helped me personally so much. Like personally, it's just helped me so much. So I think what I want to do is maybe try out how it would look if I did choose to lower my risk on those reversal setups because I like continuation setups because I feel like they're higher probability and I don't like potentially capitalizing on that high time frame correction. Talking about high time frame, I mean like the daily time frame correction. I like to just always, be going with the trend, but capitalizing on those earlier reversal moves can obviously lead to high RR because you can catch the whole move, which would make sense if I were to size down because then I'll be capitalizing on something longer. Definitely just some thoughts. A little bit of a yeah, but that's what these are for. Okay, cool. That's Wednesday. 2 days to go. Okay, bullish ICC, entry wasn't hit, just missed a loss, no candle close above entry, above level, so no entry. Cool. Okay, notes, continue waiting for the 5-minute or 15-minute candle close. I know, well, not I know, but like from what I've heard, the person who I learned from, which I say in like I feel like almost every single video, but I learned from Trades by Sight, and he doesn't wait for candle closes. He will just get in as soon as he sees price going above the level. For me and how I've traded and what I've observed from looking at the charts, candle closes are working. They are definitely working, and I missed out on this entry. I saw this opportunity, missed out on the entry because I was waiting for the candle close on the 5-minute or the 50-minute. Never ended up getting it. Price ended up reversing. So I just want to keep doing this because sometimes when I'm not taking entries, I tend to be like, oh, like maybe I'm just being too sensitive and maybe I don't need to wait for the candle close. But seeing that I've avoided this loss because I waited for the candle close is just reinforcing those good habits. So I just want to note that down so I can remember that in future. Okay, this is where I shorted off of that breakout of the consolidation. Yeah, so we broke out of the support level here. I definitely could have entered a bit earlier. I think I was right in entering where I entered. This is where that momentum came for the sellers. So I entered here. Price ended up hitting my TP. This is the setup that I potentially missed out on for gold. Obviously, we got that indication. We got a correction. We started getting a continuation, which formed a higher low, and then my entry just was never hit. You can see it almost wicks to above the level, but then it just never ends up pushing through. So very glad I didn't take that because look at the way price just plummeted. I would have been so sad if I took that. But yeah, I already know what I'm going to see here. It's when I hit my trade. Okay, bearish ICC, broken support, lower high, head and shoulders, the end of the correction. What does that mean? Price was below the momentum point. What do I mean? Head and shoulders and the end of the correction. Yeah, okay, so it was the head and shoulders was proving that it was the end of that correction for that higher time frame ICC setup. You could call this an ICC setup or you could call it a zone to zone. They're basically like the same thing in this example. Obviously, it's not always the same thing, but I was definitely more entering at that momentum point. But if I were waiting for the typical ICC entry, I would have waited for that indication, correction, and continuation. But I had taken an indication that I had seen probably a week ago or a few days ago and kind of used that. I'll see if I can show you. Looking here, I could have taken an indication, correction, continuation, but actually no, I couldn't have because I would have been in London. I don't trade London for gold. Even though obviously like we're seeing that gold made a move in London. It does move in London, but there's just so many fake outs, to be honest. Anyway, so this was the indication. So you can see, yeah, this is the 8th and this is the 15th. So how many days apart is that? That's like 7, it's a whole week apart. But we saw obviously there's this indication correction, head and shoulders. So that's what I meant by it was the end of the correction. But then if I was taking it, I thought I deleted it. Oh, thank God. If I was taking it as like a normal ICC where you'd use the previous 3 days of price action, which to be honest, in the market conditions that we've been seeing, I have not been taking that. Oh my God, I said that wrong. But I have not been doing the previous 3 days because I've just noticed that just does not work. Like sometimes you just need to zoom out. I found. And before when I was doing the previous 3 days, I was taking indications off of the 15-minute and the 5-minute. I tended to get stopped out a lot more. And obviously ICC can work on all time frames, but I just find the high time frames really do just work. And if Trades by Sight has chosen the high time frames, then who am I as a beginner to be like, actually, I just want really quick money. So I'm actually just going to do it on the 15-minute and expect the same results. Anyway, a little bit of a tangent, but if I were to wait for the last 3 days, I would have waited here. I would have been like, okay, price is below. Let me wait for an indication, correction, and continuation. But instead, I was like, you know what? I can see that there's already been an indication. I can see that price, there's a big, like there's a lot of momentum that comes from below this point. This is a point where I had marked out on where I wanted to see price push through. So when I entered into this trade, I basically had an alert here because I wanted to see price make a movement through here. Once I saw this candle right here, I was like, okay, cool. Feel confident in the trade going to my area. And then I had my candle close at the 1 hour. So yeah, you can call it a zone to zone, you can call it an ICC. I say it's a little bit of both. But yeah, that was my last trade of the week. Overall, what did we have? We had quite a few trades actually. Now that we're actually talking about it, we did have quite a few trades. We had that win on Friday, and we had 2 wins on gold demo, and then we had 1 loss on Nasdaq. Would we call this a demo win? I don't know. I wouldn't personally, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with last week. I am pretty happy. I feel like it's kind of everything's just kind of clicking together, and it's just about kind of figuring out what risk management style I want to do, and just stop listening to everyone telling me to take more risk, because I understand it. I truly do, but I'd rather just learn. My account size isn't massive. I'll show you. This is my account size, guys. We don't have a world of money to be messing with. And if I had just taken every demo trade, yeah, potentially, I probably would have made more because it was a high win rate. But at the same time, I'm not trying to play around with my money for no reason. I'm trying to wait for things that give me high conviction. But anyway, that is it for my trade recap. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took away something from this. I definitely did take away a lot from my trading. These are notes if you want to screenshot it or whatever of things that I've messed up on. If you're an ICC trader, I highly suggest you check these notes. If you trust me, you don't have to. You can do it yourself, but why would you make the same mistakes that I've made if I'm telling you them? But anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys had a great week and took a bunch of profitable trades. And yeah, I will speak to you later today. Bye.